The shir is being given L'Zecha Nishmas Rachaleya Bas Rav Chaim Tzvi. We're going to be focusing on one of the keynotes of Tisha B'Av, and this keynote is number 18. It begins with the language of V'ato Amarta Heitev Eitiv Imach V'niflinu Ani V'amach V'lama B'nei B'liyal Chilu Shmach V'lo Shafachta Aleim Zamoch. This is a kina written by one of the most famous of the Paitonim, Rabbi Elazar Kalir, a Paiton who is probably considered to be the Paiton par excellence in many, many different areas. And here, in this particular kina for Tisha B'Av, we have a very fundamental yesod that my Rebbe, Rav Soloveitchik, Zechen Livracha, on any number of occasions spelled out. And the yesod is based on a very famous comment of Amidatam in Masechah Shabbos on Daf Nun Hem and Aleph. Taisus points out that the relationship between HaKadosh Baruch Hu and Klal Yisrael is founded really upon two Yesodis. One Yesod is the Yesod of Schus Avos, and the second Yesod is the Yesod of Bris Avos. Chazal tell us, and this is what Rabbi Natam indicates as well, very clearly, that Schus Avos Tama. That concept of Schus Avos is tragically and unfortunately no longer extant. The Gemara says that in the days of Yecheskel, that concept was essentially terminated. There's no more Schus Avos. Schus Avos, of course, is the notion that the Avos, Avraham, Yitzchak, Yaakov, had unbelievable Schusim, and those Schusim redound to our credit, down through the ages, and that somehow can no longer be activated, the concept of Schus Avos. And even though in the Shemona Esrei we have the language of Elokei Avraham, Elokei Yitzchak, Elokei Yaakov, so obviously we are invoking the merit of the Avos, Hakadoshim Avraham, Yitzchak, Yaakov. So Rabbi Natam says there are tzvei dinim. There's a dialectic that even though the concept of Schus Avos is no longer relevant, however, Bris Avos Lo Tama. There's still a bris that Hashem is consummated with the Avos, and that bris, that covenant, remains forever. How does Rabbi Natam know that? A pasuk in Chumash. It says at the end of Vayikra in Perek Avav, the Torah tells us, "V'zacharti es brisi Yaakov, v'yafres brisi Yitzchak, v'yafres brisi Avram Eskar, v'yaretz Eskar." And here, the Torah does not indicate any specific time frame for bris Avos. Bris Avos apparently is a concept that remains lanetzach. This notion of Bris Avos is very fundamental, very basic. And based on the concept of Bris Avos, Ribbanu Shalom is committed to Klal Yisrael forever. This notion, of course, of Bris Avos, the Gemara in Kedushin, the Gemara speaks about on Daf Samach Aleph, about the pasuk in Bechukaisai, in Vayikra Perek Avav, Pasuk Gimel, in Bechukaisai Teilechu, and the Gemara interprets the bris between Kudsha B'richu and Klal Yisrael in terms of Tanai Kofel, a double relationship that we have with the Ribbanu Shalom. Of course, the relationship is through the medium of Avraham, Yitzchak, Yaakov, and even though Schus Avos is based on the unbelievable and profound connection that Hashem had with the Avos, but there's a limit. Thomas Schus Avos. However, as I mentioned, the bris continues, and that's exactly what this kina is devoted to, this idea. We, in effect, have the right to demand from the Ribbanu Shalom justice, not insofar as Schus Avos is concerned, but insofar as Bris Avos is concerned. Bris Avos means that the Ribbanu Shalom made a commitment, a binding commitment. He cannot desert us, He cannot abandon us, and even though Klal Yisrael will sometimes stray from the path, from the Darkei Hashem, but constantly we are invoking Bris Avos. Schar lanu Bris Avos asher amarta. We don't say Schar lanu Schus Avos, but Schar lanu Bris Avos asher amarta. a bris avos which is eternal in nature. And the same idea is found here in this particular Kinna, that even though Klal Yisrael went into Golus, went into exile, we were driven out of Yerushalayim, the Mikdash was burnt, Yerushalayim was destroyed, but despite everything, we know that ultimately we will be able to return to Eretz Yisrael, and the Beis Hamikdash will be rebuilt, and once again, the Rebbeinu Shalom, His presence will be felt there. There'll be Ashras Hashchina. And so, when one examines this particular Kinna, one has to see that in the backdrop. And now we'll begin to examine some of the verses of the Kinna, and